Let's talk about aji today, or what we know as Japanese horse mackerel. For the most part, this fish is available all year round. It's just some season that cost more, some season that cost less, and also where the fish come from, it actually matters. There's so many different kinds of aji out there. There's a really expensive one, or is really cheap one. I normally tend to go to the one right below the best one. Unless it's required by my client to purchase the most expensive one, then I would. You probably noticed that I use my knife to scale the fish instead of the scaler because the fish is so small, and the best thing you can use is a tip of your knife. The really expensive one usually come with the tag with the number, and the meat is much firmer, but it doesn't matter what grade of the fish it is. If you don't know how to take care of it, then it will become crap. There are so many different ways of filleting the fish though, so this is how I do it. Some chef might agree, some chef might not, or maybe even you out there probably be able to use this technique to cut whatever fish you have at home. With the aji, I normally keep the bone for presentation. It's either displayed fresh or I display it after I fry the bone. Here is the first technique I normally use. With this one, you will save more of the meat from the fish, but it will take longer. It usually will be more precise too, because you have to cut the top part of the fish, then you go with the bottom, leave the meat on, flip it over and do the same thing. Towards the end, you will pull the knife in the middle. That's when you're separating the meat from the bone, while still leaving all the bones attached in one piece with the head. And I also apologize to all my master sushi chef out there that I did not sharpen my knife before this filleting fish. But before I get to this aji, I was cutting tuna, salmon, and yellowtail already. So my knife is kind of semi-gone. And as you can tell, I usually keep my right hand really clean, which is the hand with my knife handle, which actually go with everything you do as a sushi chef. We normally keep our dominant hand dry and clean for the most part. And don't worry, your knife will be fine. The bone is pretty soft. Here's a second technique how I normally cut my aji. Just start with the tail with the one cut. Be very careful though, because the scale towards the tail is pretty sharp and pointy. But as you can see, compared to the first technique, this is way quicker. But then again, you have an opportunity of missing the meat on the bone. But if you do it long enough, it shouldn't matter too much. Like I said though, not all the chefs will agree on what I did. Now let me explain why I do what I do, the technique I use. I set out to be a sushi chef not because I want to pursuing to be the best sushi chef in the world, but I want to provide the most value for my customer as much as I can. So by saving myself time, I can charge my customer less, but still provide the best quality sushi I could provide. Removing the bone is pretty easy, but it's also hard at the same time because there are so many bones in that fish. And also the meat is so little, so if you mess it up, you're pretty much almost trashing that whole piece already. A lot of the prep cook usually forget that little bones in the front, and that was it for the bone. Now I have to do a whole bunch. Then I will wrap it up and bring it to my client's house. I will take off the skin and also make the sashimi and nigiri right at their house. So that was it for behind the scene of how I normally prep my aji for the private event. Hopefully I provide some knowledge today. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay simple. Bye bye.